Hello, it's another Monday and another video from me, and today I want to talk about how you guys and I can deal with winter depression, aka seasonal affective disorder. It is basically a form of depression that happens in the body in times of winter and lack of light, and this particular happens above a certain latitude because in the winter time we often get several months where the sun doesn't rise above the horizon, which means that you get very little daylight, and for a while you almost get no daylight whatsoever. Symptoms of winter depression, winter blues, or SAD, seasonal affective disorder, is similar to that of a regular depression. There often will be times that you sleep a lot and you feel like you're almost like a bear, you want to hibernate for the winter. There will also be times where you struggle to sleep because the lack of daylight means that you have no idea what time of day it is, and your body doesn't understand when to be awake and when to be asleep, which means that also a lot of time during the day when you are asleep, your body is quite tired and you feel like you have very little energy, or you might feel like you want to have naps a lot. So I nap a lot. It also means, following up on that you might start craving certain foods. You might crave sugar food, greasy food, fatty foods, and that's because, like a bear who hibernates, your body will react to the lack of stimulation by making you eat. It's therefore quite common that people will gain weight, not just because of Christmas and the Christmas parties and things, but in the winter period, and then start losing it in the spring when they kind of wake up again. You might also, like a depression, find that as it gets darker you'll have a decreasing interest in doing things. You might not want to socialise, you might not want to exercise, you might not want to stick to your own hobbies, and you might feel just need to stay inside, have cocoa, nap, sleep, don't do anything. And you'd also will feel maybe just sad, you might just feel down, you will feel like nothing's quite right ever, and that's okay. That's all symptoms of winter depression. Now, there are several ways to deal with the winter blues, and there's also, it's a wide spectrum, so you might not go completely into depression, but you might just feel down, you might just feel a lack of energy, and it's very, very common, at least in areas like this. If you're moving into anywhere in northern Scandinavia, Canada, some of the northern states in the US, Russia, you might experience all these things. Tip number one for how to kind of combat seasonal affective disorder is to stay active. Now, this tip is universal for all types of depression, and it's about getting endorphins into your body. Now, I know when you're at home, the weather's awful, it's dark and you don't want to do anything, it's tempting to just stay on the couch, but you will find that if you force yourself to go to the gym, if you go for a walk, if you try to make use of the afternoon and the hours you have, because even though it's dark, it's not as late as your body might think it is, you will feel better and you will get energy from it. Tip number two is to catch natural daylight when you can. Often, if you have a full-time job or if you're a student, this might mean that you have to catch it on the weekends. And I know it's not fun, but if you get up early on the weekends, you can catch the morning light and come to the early afternoon, which is when it is light in the winter time. And it's going to be so good for you, and just that little bit of daylight is going to fuel you for at least the beginning of the week. Tip number three, which follows up on that, is that if you can't catch any actual daylight, try and get a daylight lamp, which is basically a lamp that simulates natural lighting and stimulates the body to produce vitamin D, which means, and also your head feels more awake, your body feels more awake, and it just helps everything function the way it would do on a summer's day. And those can be a bit expensive, but if you're really, really struggling with seasonal affective disorder or the winter blues, they might help. Tip number four is accept the cravings. If you're really, really craving sugar foods, fatty foods, sometimes you can accept the cravings. You're not going to be in the bikini in the winter. It's alright, don't worry about it. Eat the occasional treat, but do make sure that you supplement that with healthy foods, because healthy foods rich in vitamins and minerals is going to help with the winter blues, and it is going to give you more energy, and you're going to feel a lot more awake than you would if you're only eating foods that's kind of actually putting your body to sleep. So if you're only eating sugar foods, fatty foods, all sorts of things, try and supplement that with greens, with sprouts, with vegetables, with clean proteins like chicken, and you are going to feel better for it because it just gives your body a little bit of extra boost. If you manage to do that in the summer as well, you're very, very healthy as a human being, and I will applaud you. Tip number 5, which is pretty much what I just said, is just take vitamins. in wintertime when there is no sunlight, if you're above the Arctic Circle and you struggle to get enough daylight, your body struggles to produce enough vitamin D. It will help if you then take a vitamin D supplement. That will help with your body absorb calcium, it will help keeping your bones healthy. And if you then also take magnesium, magnesium is a mineral which is supposed to help give your body energy, keep you awake, and fight kind of just lethargy or lethargic feelings in the body. So maybe take a multivitamin if that helps. Or if you feel you're rather healthy, just take a vitamin D, because people living in northern parts of the world or the northern hemisphere are infamously known in like doctor circles for just having constantly low vitamin D. Even if you're out all summer, because you're running such a deficit, your body is just always like the long-term level of vitamin D, your body's always going to be low. And tip number 6 is force yourself to socialise. Now, I know firsthand that socialising in wintertime is a pain in the arse. And I have this winter, because I've really accepted the hibernating thing, I've started knitting. So I've watched a lot of Netflix and I knit, and I'm not ashamed of that, but I do admit that it's not quite healthy when every time you'd rather sit in and watch Netflix than go out and see your friends or go out and do something social. So sometimes force yourself to be social, because that interaction will again give you energy and help you have happier days if you're feeling a bit low, and if you're feeling very low, it might help distract you. It's also important to remember that you can combine these. If you can make it really easy for yourself. You take your vitamins in the morning, you go to work or go to uni, catch a bit of daylight where you can, and then maybe a couple of days a week after work or after uni, you go to the gym and you make an effort to maybe drag a friend with you, because that way you get social interaction and you get your endorphins going, and that's going to feel a lot easier than having to do both of those, when in reality you'd rather be at home in your pyjamas just having a very nice nap on the sofa. And that's okay. Try and do a bit of both. I also have to say that if you're really suffering from seasonal affective disorder, aka SAD, it might be because you have already an existing depression that gets even worse in wintertime, in which case you should talk to your doctor, talk to your nurse, talk to your GP, talk to your mental health professional, whoever it is that you consult with, and either get medication, because they can prescribe things that might help, or they can just help you out with that and process the feelings that may come up if you're extra sad and can't quite stay as proactive as you might want to, or as you might be the rest of the year. So it is important to see what kind of level you're on. If you're going anywhere north, I hope these tips were kind of helpful for you. I know they're quite standard, but it might not be something that people consider, the fact that if you're in a northern area, you might just get really down in the winter, and that's okay, but there are ways to combat them. Let me know down below if you've had any experiences with seasonal affective disorder, or if you had any experiences just with a milder case of winter blues, and then I'm gonna see you next Monday. Bye!